Hello and welcome back to Norfolk Fords. Today I have a wet spot. Yeah, it's been a really awful night. You can probably hear the tin roof shaking a bit in the wind. Absolutely awful wind, good bit of rain, and just walking around the sheds making sure everything's watertight. We are not. Luckily it's not in the pile. There's nothing to say it won't spread, so I'm going to get the telehandler and push that up in a little bit. But yes, hello again. I'm not dead. Just been rather busy, a lot of headaches. There's been an awful lot to sort out, and harvest has been absolutely mad for me because it's my first one running a combine and just sort of trying to manage my own time like that. So apologies for the lack of videos. I've got so much footage that I'd like to edit, which I've not made time to edit, which I will make time to edit. Yes, but I thought today I would get back on the track and just upload a simple, off-the-cuff, I'm in the shed having a wander around, chatting bollocks. So, how was the axle flow? Well, it was bloody gorgeous. I loved it. Mighty machine, did really well. A little bit, yeah. I absolutely love the noise of it. I occasionally let somebody else drive it just so I could have a bit of a break, because nobody tells you how exhausting a combine is to drive. As some of you may have realised from previous drilling videos, I can't drive in a straight line. So modern problems require modern solutions. I'm currently looking into a bit of an EGNOS steering system, which should be good enough, for my drilling and stuff. Should be alright on EGNOS. It's actually, it's the one up from EGNOS, but I can't remember what it's called. It's something Star. It's not Green Star. Christ, I wouldn't go that way. Yeah, and you've got the combine to blame for that one. Just because after, good old day getting into the evening on this, you feel exhausted. You are steering, you are concentrating on the feed from the feeder, the header. You're then worrying about what's going on in the back end. You're constantly listening for the wrong kind of noise. So it's exhausting. So blame the combine. I'm getting a steering wheel for the TM. And come harvest next year, I shall swap it onto this and we'll have a slightly easier time. But what else shall we do in the combine in the meantime? Well, I've already blown it down. She's had a good wash down. I didn't wash under the guards because obviously that's how you get water in bearings and that's how you get problems. But we've given it a gentle wash, but mostly a blow down. And I've basically just removed all the guards and just left it, so hopefully we don't have Mr. Mousy come and have a look. But yeah, but it's just been quite good fun. Turn you around and turn the light on. You'll see, done a fair job of blowing it. You can't get every last little bit, can you? But I just really enjoy having the rotor visible. I don't know why, it's really silly really, but I can't fault the combine for the operation that I've done, because I think I've had about 120 acres of cereals, so this is a high capacity combine for only 120 acres. You go back to 1996, which is when this was made, this would have been a big deal combine, but nowadays it's kind of small. But the throughput has been incredible with it. You really can push on with this, and it does. Again, absolutely amazing little note from the engine. Very satisfying when I was having a break for me to watch my own combine. Literally, I've said it before, it's a turbo, there's a 90-degree elbow and a pipe that goes up. Can't be better. Add who? Add who? But yeah, I've got big plans for the combine over Christmas. Obviously, I used to be John Deere technician back in the day. It was only like 3 years? I think it was about 3 years ago. I've lost track of time. And I used to help out on all the combines. So I absolutely love combines. It's all Roy and Mark's fault, but I like combines, so shout out to them pair. And yeah, I'd be an absolute idiot if I didn't take the time to look after my own combine now that I have one. So one thing that I am going to do is It feels like such a stupid idea, really. When I bought the combine, I've got all the panels down, which sort of hinders me. If I look under here, you can see all the pivot bushes for the sieves. They're all new. My sieves have been reconditioned, I think, or I've had a new set, one or the other, because we compared this with the other combine. The other one's sieves were awful, but these were lovely and clean. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with my sieves. The problem is the seal on the side here. It's obviously once was a bit longer, but I'm losing grain out the side of it because the rubber is just perishing. Look, you can just see that's ripping out, and basically here's a repair that I did with a bit of old conveyor belt we had, and just taped it up at that end to sort of match it to the other side, and it did actually help quite a lot, because what I was finding was, as I was going along, I was having grains fall out on top of the axle here. So that's obviously an area that needs sorting out. So my plan is I'm going to have my sieves out to re-rubber them, because as big as that gap looks, I can't get my shoulders through it, which means I can't put a new seal all the way to the front while it's in situ. So to make sure I'm doing a good job, I'm going to have them out the back. It's going to be painful, but that's what Christmas is for. Nobody's going to bother me, hopefully. I'll hide up in here when I'm meant to be wrapping presents for Chloe, no doubt. But we'll have it out, and while it's out, I would like to weld up those holes. That's where knives have gone through. This hole in particular has been quite a pain in the bum, so I definitely want to fill that one up, because directly above that is a sump for the engine. So somebody obviously had quite a close call with that knife back whenever that happened. But the problem is, because the straw, oh, there's another hole up here, hadn't noticed that one before. This is underneath the diesel tank as well, so we've got to be really careful under this area. We've got to take this quite seriously. But yeah, that hole in particular, and to be fair, all the holes do, because this area chucks straw up the top here and it sort of glides down like a slope. That little hole absolutely jams up with straw, and you end up with straw underneath the engine. Now, I'm not a fireman by any extent, but it don't take a lot of working out that that's not a good idea. That's not where you want straw. So I was mucking that out every day. So hopefully with the sieves out, we'll have a good sort of tidy up in here, sort of flatten them up. Ideally, we'd weld them from the outside, but because everything engine-wise is the other side, I'm not really sure what the best way to do that is. If any of you guys have got ideas on how to best patch these holes without... Because ideally, I don't want to put a plate in here, because it'll just snag. It'll interrupt the flow sort of thing. You'll get sort of turbulence with the straw flying about, which won't be great, but I'd rather that than had straw underneath my engine. If anybody's got a good idea, let me know. But yeah, that's the big job that I want to do. And of course, I'll get back in the habit of having a time lapse. This channel was built on time lapses after all, so we'll have a good show and tell with that. But one thing we've also got to fix, my lost monitor fell off. I've still got it, but yeah, we were last 15 minutes of the last field, would you believe? And the lost monitor just started going blip, 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 blip in the cab, as if the whole crop was going all the way through. No, the sensor had snapped off the bracket here and was just sat here bouncing around. Not what you want to see as you're trying to finish. So unbolted it, unplugged it, wrapped it with a bit of tape, and I just said, yeah, for what's left, send on, ignore it. The very last field, I was at that point where it was just, I want it in the shed, don't matter. That was the right amount of moisture. That was about 13, I think it was 13.6 was the moisture that day. But it just started spitting the rain, and it was just like, yeah, not stopping for this. Just get it in. But yeah, I've been quite lucky this year. Obviously, the main reason of having a combine is you've got control of your own destiny, really, and it's paid off. I think this combine has saved me, I don't know, £1,000 at least in drying charges, just because we had the power to go in the right conditions. If I had a contractor, hi Philip, he would only be able to come when it's convenient for him, because he has his own crops and responsibilities as well, which you can't fault him for at all. So By having this, we've saved money. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. Love it. I wonder if any of you guys have heard this as well. So obviously it's been quite a high ergot year. Myself, I think I had 6 lorries of spring barley. It might have been 7. I only had 2 out of those lorries that didn't have ergot. My ergot charges were £15 a tonne. And across all them lorries, I've lost out on about 1,800 quid's worth because of ergot charges. So quite a decent hit, but that's been the year it's been. Somebody said to me, with the small amount of ergot I had like 1 or 2 pieces in a sample sort of thing. Most years I'd have passed that because they wouldn't have looked that hard for it, but because it's been everywhere, they've been extra vigilant, which means extra charges. So I asked the comment sections this. A friend of mine, Chris, said to me the other day, he's ploughing all of his fields for cereals, because when you get like a second cereal and stuff, you'll plough the ergot in, and ergot can't survive below 8 inches of soil apparently. So I had no plans of getting the plough out this year unless I got a sugar beet contract. So should I be ploughing? I've only got 30 acres which is coming second cereals. Do I plough it? With one hand I'd be saving because I'm not putting the diesel through. On one hand I could risk more ergot. Leave a comment below. I'd like to know what you think. But if we do go ploughing, the mighty Dowswell is ready. Well, not quite actually. I need to weld some bits on. This is a furrow widener. So this is obviously quite a small plough. Well, it is and it isn't. It's the right sort of size plough, but it's not wide enough furrow for my tractor. The big wheels, we'll come back to the TM in a second. Those wheels are not fitting in a tiny little furrow as this, so this is what they call a widener, which just cuts the wall off, lets it lay at the bottom of the furrow. You've got more room for a big furrow. So we're going to try them, because we need to really, because I want my ploughing a lot better than it was last year. I'm not a gifted ploughman, but I can definitely do better. But what we're also going to try is subsoiler points. Now, I've spoken to Owen, and he does quite a lot of ploughing. He has Lemkin because he's a posh git. But he speaks to their sort of demo guy when they first got their plough, and he said, run every furrow with a subsoiler, because that'll affect how each furrow does. So if you've got one without and one with, it's going to behave differently. My dad argues shouldn't matter because the subsoiler is up here, you know, obviously in reverse, so that shouldn't affect what it's doing turning over the soil. But I've got enough subsoilers to put on every furrow, and the TM should be more than enough to pull 5 subsoilers on 5 furrows. Should be good. If I had a bigger plough, which was actually a wider furrow, possibly on the edge of the horsepower, but because this is quite a narrow plough, I should be alright. What are the comments below as well? So 1, should I be ploughing to bury ergot? And 2, should I have subsoilers on everything? I think I ought to have subsoilers on everything. Let me know. Why have you broken it? Yeah, so that was actually a year ago this has been broken, and I've only just started getting on with it. So I was in the little triangle field next to the yard, which was the first cultivations I've got on it. Literally, they'd just baled it, just moved the bales, and I was like, right, got the TM, got the discs out, and I went discing on it. And I got out to empty the tank, I'm going to leave it there, and noticed I had a stud laying on top of the gearbox here. Yeah, we'll turn around so we've got... There we go. I had a stud just laid here. I thought, where the hell's that come from? If you look here, I have got 2 broken studs. Now, I didn't do anything with this a year ago because it wasn't leaking. So I needed the tractor for drilling, so I carried on. So it's a gasket. When you have the gaskets, it's held down by 3 of the cylinders. So that's probably why it held out for so long. But that was about 3 weeks ago. Started to hear it whistle. Sorted it out. So I've had the parts on the shelf for a little while. So we've got some left-handed drill bits. So this is one of the projects in the background when I'm not helping out Dad. So got the exhaust off. I need to take this pipe off just to give myself a bit more room to get in there. That's just part of the bonnet guard, so we can soon move that or bend it. And yeah, hopefully she'll be hunky-dory, but apart from that, she's all right. I do need to find out. I've got the smallest of coolant leaks, and I think what it is it's slightly breathing out the top. I've changed the cap, thinking that'd solve it, but it's still not solving it. I don't think I'm burning coolant. I'm not getting coolant in the oil. There's nowhere else that the coolant can go apart from, I think it's evaporating out of the cap. So I just keep topping that up at the minute. It doesn't go down quick. It's not like I'm topping it up every day. Topping it up probably once a month. But she's not overheating. Like I said, I don't think she's burning coolant. I don't think the coolant's going anywhere it shouldn't. I think it is just evaporating out. So have I got a weep somewhere else? Not sure. But apart from that, TM solid. I would like to service it. But that's a couple of £100 worth of oil when you price this bad boy up. So oil is cheaper than metal though. But yeah, I will, when I get back to this, have a full video sorting out the TM, and maybe we'll do a service at the same time. I would like to see this service because we do need to look after it. So yeah. And lastly, while we're kicking about the shed this morning, like I said, checking for leaks of the weather, what are people's thoughts on the 4610? I haven't really done anything with it for a little while, and I'm actually starting to feel quite old. I started playing with this tractor when I went to college. I was 16 at the time. I'm now 25, and I still haven't finished this to a high enough standard. This is working standard, but I've still got a couple of panels missing. Panels that I've put back on because I need them on are unpainted. So would everybody like me to finish the 4610? Because I think I really ought to this Christmas. We probably ought to do it in order. So we'll finish the TM, finish the combine, then we'll start having a look at the 4610. Because we ought to finish that, because it's been a 9-year project at this point. And that's a very odd thing to say, thinking you were 16 when you first started it, and you're now 25. And you're also running a farm, and you've got a couple of other tractors and a combine. Oh crap. Yeah, been quite a busy boy, really. It's a bit understandable why we haven't finished it, but we've got half the trim in, haven't we? I can't even remember if I did a video putting the trim in the roof, but that improves soundproofing in this no end. But we got none at the bottom. Like I said, we got a couple of panels off and stuff. I just hadn't gone back and finished it. And I'm not being funny, but 60 horsepower compared to 165, there's not many jobs this tractor's going to be doing now, apart from some real light work, some little moving about sort of things, and a bit of fun obviously. So I ought to really take the time to finish it off, because working condition isn't really important anymore, because we're trying to be more efficient and use the bigger tractor to get everything done now. So really ought to finish this, didn't I? Would you guys like to see that? Would you like me to do a proper video series finishing the 4610? Leave a comment. But I think that's all the ramblings I've got for today. We're going to get back in the habit of uploading. Fingers crossed. So I want to try and mix it with some more off the cuffs like this. But I do like the half edited stuff that I do. I feel like there's a good level of quality I can do with that. So we're going to try and work a balance, because I do like the editing, but it is time consuming and it's put me off a little bit because of everything else we've been doing. So, thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see, leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe. And we'll be back very soon with more antics, because we're going to be drilling in the next month. Seed is ordered. Very exciting. Winter wheat is going in the next month. So, finish that off. Dual wheels, drill. Bosh.